Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 11 from Marvel Comics. So I just want to say that the cover looks cool, but it is a lie, and I'll get to that later on. So we start off with Peter trying to stake out the city, looking for any crimes that he needs to handle, and he's trying to get into contact with Harry, who has basically been snubbing him for a while, and it's probably has to do with Ben and J. Jonah Jameson and Gwen not being happy with them. But yeah, Peter's trying to contact him. He can't, so he tries to contact Octavius and basically asks him like, hey, have you seen Harry? What's going on with him? And Octavius just says, I'm not his keeper. I don't know what he's doing, but his suit is gone and there's something important I need to talk to you about. But there's a bank robbery that happens right before Octavius can tell him. And so Peter hangs up on him and Octavius is like, I have no way to reach you. Which, I don't know if I really buy that. I mean, Octavius is super smart. He's a genius. And with all the things he's able to do with technology, I'm pretty sure he can contact Peter if he wants to. But, yeah, there's a bank robbery. And it's Mr. Negative and his gang. And we get to see Peter doing Spider-Man things. Just because he's an older dude than his 616 counterpart, just because he's a dad, it doesn't stop him from doing the jokes and the puns and stuff that Peter is known for doing. And we even have a little bit of a comedy moment where one of the women in the bank are yelling at Peter, basically saying like, what are you doing? You're going to get everybody killed. You should have just let them rob the bank in peace. And yeah, I'm going to be skipping a bunch of stuff. But basically, it gets to the point where Mr. Negative uses his abilities to brainwash the bank patrons to attacking Peter. And Peter's like, well, I can't attack them back because these are innocent people being brainwashed. So we cut to him arriving back to his home where he's kind of beat up and Mary Jane is there waiting for him. And this is my favorite moment in this entire issue is the fact that they do what husband and wife do, and that's communicate. They actually talk to each other. And the thing is that it doesn't break out into a huge argument or anything like that. It's just Mary Jane basically saying, hey, like, what's going on with you? Why do you look the way you do? And Peter is kind of being jokey and saying that, hey, like, this may look bad, but it wasn't completely terrible. I learned a valuable lesson. One of them being that not all women are like you, and I'm lucky to have you. And Mary Jane responds with, yeah, that's what my sister used to say, but we don't talk to each other anymore. But you and I do. And Peter's like, yeah, absolutely. And Peter's like, well, there's something you want to say, so I'm going to pay close attention while you do it. And Mary Jane basically says, hey, like, I think I've been pretty cool about this whole situation, about you becoming Spider-Man. Like, I've taken the threat of violence and overall looming sense of danger in stride. Peter's like, yeah, you have. And Mary Jane's like, well, like, what should I do if I start freaking out a little bit? And she says, there are thousands of photos and hours of video you take for the paper. Peter, I don't think it's ever come up before, but had you ever gone into a fight before all this? Peter says, one time in 8th grade, and I got my ass kicked and it was terrifying. Mary Jane's like, so how are you dealing with it now? And Peter explains, I hate it. Like, I hate doing this. I feel like I'm the only one that can do it. I feel like I'm the one that can be a hero at times, but I don't want to hurt anybody. And I don't want anybody getting hurt. So I absolutely hate it. And Mary Jane's like, well, I think that's why you're perfect for this job. But I need you to promise me when I should start getting scared. So it's just one of those things where they're talking to each other. She has her worries. Like, she's supportive of him despite her worries, but she still has worries, and she just wants some reassurance from Peter. And like, hey, if the things ever get too much, please tell me when I should start getting worried. And Peter even says, I will. Like, if I ever come home and tell you it's time to run, then it's time to run. But until then, please don't worry. I'm supposed to be doing this. And so nothing really gets solved. Mary Jane is still going to be worried about her husband, but at least they communicated. They got their worries out, and they're able to handle this like two mature adults who are married to each other. And I don't know, there's just something about this that I like. I absolutely despise in superhero comics, mostly superhero comics, but anything where someone has like a secret identity or whatever, when their loved one or their family or their friend find out about it, and they get like completely freak out, they get all negative. Their first reaction is, why are you lying to me? Like, how could you have not told me about this? And obviously Mary Jane has already known that Peter was Spider-Man before this issue. Like, she already knew from previous issues back. But I just like the fact that even then, like, she's still being very supportive. She's still like, I know why you're doing this, and I think you're the perfect person for this job, but you're still my husband. I still love you. And you coming home bruised and battered, obviously it's going to worry me. So just don't hide anything from me. Like if things are starting to get into too much trouble, please tell me. And Peter's like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And so I love this. I love that, hey, we have adults actually communicating, because that's the one thing that annoys the hell out of me in any kind of storytelling, is when there's a problem that can be easily solved by one person communicating, but nobody does. And so we drag out that issue for multiple chapters until finally the person communicates, and then everything gets wrapped up. And it's like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? I like this. I like the fact that, hey, we got characters chatting with each other. And I also just love this little moment where after they're done communicating with each other, after they're done talking, MJ's first response afterwards is like, hey, you want to fool around? And Peter's like, I can't believe I have to say this, but yeah, it turns out he has to go meet with Ben because tomorrow is going to be the anniversary of her death. But yeah, I love the fact that not only do they have a healthy marriage, but they also have a healthy sex life, which is, again, cool. I don't know. I love the fact that, yeah, they're two adults. They talk about what bothers them, and then they move on. And it's obvious that they love each other. Like, they're like, hey, we have the house to ourselves. We just got done talking about what's bothering us at the moment. Now let's move on and fool around for a little bit. And unfortunately, Peter's like, I can't, but let's definitely do a rain check. So, again, just a nice little touch. So then we cut to later on where it turns out that Ben is aware that Peter is Spider-Man. He's like, hey, man, I was able to put it together. Once I found out that Harry was a Green Goblin, it didn't take much to figure out that you were Spider-Man. And even Ben is like not trying to tell Peter to stop doing this or anything like that. He doesn't come across as negative to Peter. And he just tells him like, hey, keep this a secret, because keeping it could save your life and your lives, referring to his family. You have to try harder, Peter. Make some changes. I'm happy with what you're doing. Your aunt's going to be happy with what you're doing. Like, she'd be proud of you. Just be careful. So again, I like the fact that, hey, we got communications going on here. Now to address the lie in the cover, we do have one moment where we have the Sinister Six talking to each other, and it turns out that Black Cat, when he fell off the building, he survived, but he's paralyzed now, and so he's no longer going to be able to be the Black Cat. And so instead, he has a daughter named Felicia, who's going to be taking his place. And so Felicia shows up for literally one panel, and that's it. So the cover where you see her like robbing, a jewelry store, it looks like, and Peter's going after her. And nothing like that happens. There's no confrontation between the two of them. She's literally in it for just one panel. And I'll say that's like my biggest issue that I have with this series, is that the covers are always a lie. And I get it. Comic book covers are clickbaity, but it feels like this series really makes it worse. And the thing is that comic books didn't always used to be clickbaity with the covers. I may not do videos on them, but I read a ton of like old comics. I read stuff from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Mostly I love reading stuff from like the 60s, 70s. And what you see on the cover is what you get in the story. Sometimes you'll literally see a panel taken from the interior and then just kind of touched up a little bit on the cover. But what you see on the cover is what you're going to get. Not only that, but even like the art is the same, which is not something that we have nowadays. In fact, a lot of times we'll have cover artists that just specifically do covers and make them look great and stuff. And then when you actually read the interiors look nothing like the cover art. So I get that. I get the whole clickbaity stuff. But I really, really hate the fact that the covers are always a lie. At least put something on the cover that's like interesting. Like, why are you having Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, when you could have Mr. Negative? You can have Peter confronting Mr. Negative on the cover. I mean, I know most people would be like, well, it's Black Cat. Black Cat is way more interesting of a character than Mr. Negative. Black Cat has a bigger fan base and stuff. But you could always say Black Cat for an issue where Black Cat is actually a focus. I don't know. This is just like a nitpick that I have, but it really just annoys me when they do that. Yeah, I love the fact that Peter and Mary Jane, like they communicate here. And it just kind of shows you that a lot of people in Marvel, like the suits and stuff, are idiots. And I'm specifically talking about Tom Brevoort, because Tom Brevoort literally just had a quote come out. There was an article where he specifically said that while Peter and Mary Jane can get together, they can never get married. Never allowed to be married, because it would ruin Peter Parker. And this series completely destroys that logic. This series does way better than the main run. You have a what if non-canon Spider-Man that outsells 616 Spider-Man. And it's because of the characters. It's because this is what people want. People want Mary Jane and Peter Parker together, married, and with kids. And we were on our way towards that until One More Day happened. And that completely destroyed the character. And the character has never gone better since. It's mind-boggling how people in Marvel can be that idiotic. They can be that stupid, where you literally have proof right in front of your face. Hey, this series is outselling your main run. Maybe you are completely wrong about Peter and MJ, and maybe you should give the audience what they want. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things that just bugs the crap out of me. But I love this. I love the fact that in any other series, this would be turned into just unwarranted drama. Like, oh, you have to have the dad hiding the fact he's a superhero from his wife, from his kids. And then maybe like one of them finds out and they have to keep it a secret. And then like maybe the wife finds out and now she's like, how dare you have been lying to me all this time? Maybe they might take the kids away for a little bit. And like you would have stuff like that. Whereas here, you don't have that at all. It's literally just like, hey, I'm Spider-Man. Like he tried to hide it for a little bit, but then he just came out with it. Everyone was understanding. Everyone was proud of him. They're trying to be supportive of him and what he's doing. Like I love that. I love seeing Peter Parker with people actually supporting him for a change. And I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with Felicia, because usually in the 616, you have the whole like Felicia Hardy, Mary Jane, like love triangle thing going on. I cannot see this Peter being interested in Felicia in that way. Like he might look at her and think, oh, okay, she's attractive. There's no way he would even flirt with another woman when he has a loving wife like MJ. I'm interested to see what they do with her, because yeah, there's no way you can go down that route between the two of them. Like I can't see Peter doing that at all. So that's going to be interesting. Also, another thing is the fact that when we see Felicia Hardy for the one panel that she's in, she seems a little, I don't know what expression I want to use, not distraught, but she seems a little bit like she doesn't want to be there. Like she doesn't want to be a part of the Sinister Six. Like she doesn't really want to take up the mantle. Maybe I'm just reading too much into this and we'll see where it goes. But it almost kind of looks like there's a possibility of her actually becoming a good guy rather than just like an anti-hero or just like the Catwoman to Spider-Man's Batman. It looks like there could be something where maybe she is with the Sinister Six at first, but then she switches sides. Or maybe I'm just looking too much into one panel. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling at this point. I love this. I think this is awesome. This is what Spider-Man should be. It should be Spider-Man as an adult with the loving wife, loving kids, support a family. And I like the fact that we see Peter Parker going through the struggles of being a superhero, not just necessarily when it comes to taking on bad guys and things like that. Because again, this is a guy who's never fought before outside of one time in his life back in high school where he got his ass kicked. This Peter Parker has never really been into fights. And so this is all new to him. But just the whole like, hey, here's a guy who was in his 30s and he was just a photographer and a dad. Now all of a sudden he has superpowers and he's fighting crime. Like that's a huge jump. And so it's kind of cool to see us going through this change with him. So I'm kind of rambling again. But yeah, this was awesome. I loved it. This is the best thing coming out of Marvel right now. And this is what I wish 616 was. But I hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far. And I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again. And I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.